The U.S. government is open for now.
Yeah, and Congress has voted to fund the government temporarily, avoiding a shutdown. So what happens next? Michael Neuenschwander with Outlook Wealth Advisors is live. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
So it sounds like basically they've kicked the can down the road. The bill only funds the government for 45 days. So what happens at the end of the 45 days?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, I mean, the new deadline is now November 17th. So basically a week before Thanksgiving. And so what's still on the table, unfortunately, is if a government shutdown happens, all the federal employees that are deemed, there's two classes, essential and non-essential. But here in Houston, think of all federal law enforcement, FAA, air traffic controllers, members of the military. Most of those would end up basically being non-paid for the entire length of that shutdown. So missing paychecks and so forth can be a real difficulty, not only for federal employees, but the rest of us, as well.
Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, you're looking at it, Speaker McCarthy's job could be in jeopardy because he passed this bill with Democratic support. What does this continued funding agreement mean right now for people here in Houston?
Yeah, so there's, as I mentioned, federal employees are going to feel the brunt of it, if you will. Now, they did pass a law in 2018 so that federal employees that go without pay, once the shutdown is over, they will get, sort of paid back. But for the rest of us who aren't, federal employees, we're still going to feel the impact as well. So many services, whether it's national parks, rest stops, or, other government aid services like helping pay for kids' lunches, at reduced cost, or WIC, a lot of those can go without funding and will be shut down. Now, thankfully, at least Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those are funded separately, so those will still continue to function. But the reality is, this government shutdown does cost real money and frankly is a drag on the economy. So as we look at what the economy's doing, we look at the Fed getting together again, there is some real danger that this will have a long-term, negative impact on things should they not be able to address it before November 17th.
Oh, Michael, real quickly, how can people prepare for this shutdown affecting them and try to minimize the impact on their finances?
Well, since we do sort of have that 45-day reprieve, first and foremost, if you are a government employee who this was going to impact, maybe it's time to start cutting a little expenses now. Be prepared to maybe have to dip into that emergency fund, if need be. And likewise, if you're affected by some of those other programs as well, we always recommend people have a strong emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. And so if you don't, maybe take this opportunity over the next 45 days to cut back a little where you can and begin really saving up and prepare yourself for what may be coming, unfortunately, right before Thanksgiving.
I think it was a good reminder for everybody, like what would you do if you had a sudden loss in income, right? It got a lot of people thinking, even if you weren't a government employee. Thank you, Michael. Always good to see you. Take care.